Now then folks, how are you doing? It's James, JT at the movies, back here again for another DVD, Blu-ray and 4K update. And this is everything that I picked up in January 2021. So here in the UK, we've been in lockdown for pretty much all of January. I think we went into lockdown on like the 6th or the 7th of January. So I've not actually been to many places in person really, apart from a couple of trips to like Poundland and stuff, because there's one near me work, and there's one not too far from where we live, where we, if we go out and get like, when we need to get bleach and cleaning supplies and things like that, I'll stop in and have a mooch at the movies and sort of thing. But I've ordered a lot of things off the Tinterweb, and yeah, so let's just dive in. I think in usual fashion, I shall show you the DVDs first. I'll then show you the blues, and then we'll go into the 4Ks at the end. Okay, so the first DVD that I got is one from Poundland, and it's one that I've heard's pretty good, but I've not actually seen anything of it, and I quite like this with Poundland, when the films are so cheap that you can sort of afford to take a bit of a punt on them, and then if you end up weighing them back into CEX or donating them to a charity shop or whatever, if it's not for you once you've watched them, don't feel like you've wasted loads of money. But I've heard really good things about this one. It's got a great cast, and it is 1408. So this next one I picked up as I was curious about it, based on a sort of like a throwaway line I saw in an interview, and it sort of just made me want to pick the film up. And then I saw it in Poundland. I thought, do you know what? For £1, I'll give that a go. I've yet to sit down and watch it, but it is Midnight in Paris. This next one I picked up really more for Laura than for me, as I know that she was really interested in the case. But I do like the director of this film. It's a Brian De Palma film, one of his more recent ones, and it is the Black Dahlia. So I dare say we'll be watching that one fairly soon. I picked this one up on the recommendation of a few friends. A chap that I work with had recommended it, and also I've seen a few YouTubers talk about it as well. And that is Jon Favreau in Chef. And then I picked this one up as well, again in Poundland. Had quite a good trip to Poundland this day. It's the classic war film from 1930. I've not seen it, but I'm trying to rectify that this year. In that I've not seen a lot of what you would consider quintessentially classic films, and I'm really trying to rectify that this year. So this is All Quiet on the Western Front. Gets used quite a lot as a turn of phrase, that, doesn't it? And for years I didn't know that it was based on a film. Something my grandma quite often says. If you ask her if everything's okay or whatever, yeah, all quiet on the Western Front. But there we go. So me and Laura watch a show here. Well, primarily Laura does, and I don't mind watching it with her. A show called Gogglebox, which for anybody outside the UK might not know, but it's basically similar, I suppose, in a way to what we do here. They film people watching TV and watching movies, and then sort of film their reactions to it and their dialogue, if you like. But it's a much more relaxed setting. It's just like fly on the wall camera, you and your family talking. And anyway, they had one episode where the participants were watching Final Destination, and I hadn't seen it since I was, a young teenager, and I had the DVD in the collection. So me and Laura re-watched it, and I kind of got the urge to watch the sequels, which I've never seen any of the sequels. So found a couple of them in Poundland, and then picked the last two up on the internet for quite cheap, and we've been working our way through them. So we've got Final Destination 2, which was a Poundland find. Again, Final Destination 3, which is the next one to watch. They're not great, are they? But they're all right. I don't mind these sort of like cheap sort of slashery, thrillery type sort of like late 90s, early 2000s horror movies. And then we've got Final Destination 3D, which is Final Destination 4. I've heard that one's a reasonable return to form. And then we've got Final Destination 5, which is the most recent and up-to-date one. So yeah, we've been working through them, watching one of them a week. So we've got Final Destination 3 to watch at some point this week. The next one I picked up was in our local Tesco's. We went and did the food shop, and as always, went and had a nosy down the media aisle. And I'm a musician, as you know, and I love my films about music. And Fisherman's Friends was in like a 2 for £5 deal. So I thought, you know what, I'll pick it up. I remember the trailer looking quite good, and obviously it's about a group of lads that form a band. I picked up this one, an 80s one. Short Circuit. I haven't seen this one since I was a kid, and it was in the same sort of 2 for £5 deal, so I thought, why not? So I picked this one up based on a lot of your recommendations and a lot of what you guys had picked up in your sort of like December updates and folk who've done updates in early January. And it was a film that sort of passed me by when it did have a limited theatrical release last year. The premise at the time didn't grab me, but having heard so many of you guys give it such positive reviews, I felt like I needed to give it a go. So that is Unhinged with Russell Crowe, and I'm probably going to watch that after I've shot this video, to be honest. I've been meaning to watch it for quite a while. So the next one, it is one that the mother-in-law recommended, actually, and it's Ian McKellen and Helen Mirren in The Good Liar. I picked that up in HMV just before everything went into lockdown in very early January. Me and Laura went and had a nosy. I then also got Michael Caine in The Cider House Rules. Now, I actually picked this up because I know that he won the Oscar for it, and I'm really curious to see what it was that got him the Oscar. And then the last one I picked up on the recommendation of my friend Mike, who sometimes comments on the channel, and those who've been around a while might remember that he sent me a package of goodies just before Christmas. In his collection there's a video about that as well. But me and my mate Phil do a podcast, and we were talking about thriller movies on one of our episodes. Mike contacted us to make mention of this film. It was a film I'm ashamed to say I'd not seen, but was immediately sort of intrigued by the premise, so I went and ordered it off Amazon, and that is Brian De Palma's Blowout. So that's the DVDs, folks. Let's jump into some Blu-rays, shall we? Another one from Poundland now. This is Frozen, and I've heard a few people say that this is a pretty good little sort of thrillery type movie, one of those sort of like, you know, stuck in one location for most of the film sort of thing, and I thought for a couple of quid I'll give it a go. Laura's uncle recommended this one. I'm a huge X-Men fan, but I'd heard that this film was really not worth bothering with, and so I was going to pick it up eventually, but I was going to wait until I came across it in CEX or whatever. Obviously we don't know when they're going to be opening again. Anyway, Laura's uncle watched it, and I generally tend to agree with him on sort of like film reviews. We have very similar sort of tastes, and he said that he loved it. So I thought, do you know what? Curiosity got the better of me, and I picked up The New Mutants. I picked this next one up again off the back of the podcast. Myself and Phil were having a debate in one of the episodes where we were talking about films that are critically sort of acclaimed and commercially acclaimed that we just don't care for. And I said that I didn't like James Cameron's Avatar, and it's one of the few films in James Cameron's filmography that I'm not bothered for. And those of you who know me know that Cameron's one of my favourite directors. And, you know, I love, like, The Abyss and T2 and, you know, sort of like Titanic and his early work, basically. True Lies, you know, all that sort of stuff, but not really bothered for Avatar. Anyway, me and Phil had a discussion on the podcast, and then we were nattering afterwards about it when we were sort of discussing the edits and stuff. And Phil suggested that I give the extended cut a go, because it sort of fleshes it out a bit more, and, you know, so there's more meat to the bone, if you like. And then I saw that it was on Amazon for $6.99 for the Blu-ray. So I thought, well, do you know what? I'll give it a go. So I picked this next one up because I've got the first one on Blu-ray. The second one is coming to me on Blu-ray in March when I get the set, and so I thought, well, I'll get the third one on Blu-ray as well, and that is George A. Romero's Day of the Dead. So this is an Australian release. There doesn't seem to be a widely available UK release, but obviously Australia on Blu-ray, at least, is region 2. So I know that it'll be able to play it in my player. I have got the trilogy on DVD, and it's a great little DVD set, but I actually would prefer to have it in high def. And since I've already got Night of the Living Dead now, thanks to Mike, and I've got Dawn of the Dead, the second sight sort of reissue coming in the next month or so, I saw a really good deal for that on eBay and thought, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to pick that up. This next one I picked up because me and Phil announced just before Christmas that we were going to do our annual movie marathon challenge that we set ourselves every year. It was supposed to be taking place last week, just gone, as a filming last week in January. But obviously due to the national lockdown, we're not able to see each other in person, even though he only lives a few streets away from me. And when we've been doing like our podcasts and stuff, we've been doing it over Zoom or over Facebook Messenger, and then recording the audio and video separately, and piecing it all together. And we didn't really want to do a movie marathon like that, so we've decided to sort of park it until such a time as we're back into the tiers or the lockdown's over and we're able to sort of mix socially again, and then we'll do that. But I picked this up for that because neither of us had it, and that is Amadeus. So this is a European copy. I think this might be German, but again, it's widely out of print over here on DVD and Blu-ray, and I really didn't want to pay 20 quid for the UK DVD when that was £7.99 for the, I think it's German or European certainly, Blu-ray. So the next ones are sort of like boutique Blu-rays. Now these ones, the first couple I'm going to show you are from the HMV Premium Collection. I thought I had this film, but I don't. I've only got the remake. And so when I was in HMV at the start of the year, I thought, oh, I've got to pick this up when I saw it in a 2 for £15 deal. And that is Clash of the Titans. So I'm looking forward to watching that soon. I think that's going to be one of the ones that me and Phil are going to cover on the podcast. And like I say, I thought that I had it, and when I was looking through the shelves, I've only got the remake, so we haven't got to it yet. But then obviously I have now got it, so I can watch it. The next one just intrigued me really. I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen it before. But like I say, I had a look at the synopsis and thought, yeah, do you know what? Why not? And the cover was the thing that intrigued me. That's Innocent Blood. So the last Blu-ray is one that I picked up again off the back of my mate Mike writing into the podcast and telling us about a thriller film that he really liked. And I'd not seen it for the longest time and barely remembered anything about it. But when he mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, what a great film, must rewatch that. So immediately went onto Amazon and ordered it, and it came last week. And then I had a great time one night last night watching this. And it's another Brian De Palma film, third one for this update. And it is Michael Caine in Dressed to Kill. And this is the Arrow release of it. It's packed to the absolute brim with special features. It's got the usual reversible artwork and all that, and a fantastic restoration of the film. And it was really great to revisit it in such high quality. So that's the Blu-ray update, folks, which means we've just got a handful of 4Ks left to show you. So the first one I got in fairly late January, and if you've seen my Instagram, you'll have seen that me and Laura recently watched this one. I think it's coming out on digital in the UK, but like most of you guys, I'm an absolute physical media nut and would much prefer to have the disc on my shelf than go to Amazon or Netflix and put it on or whatever. So it's Gerard Butler in Greenland, and it's a disaster, end-of-the-world type movie, and you know what? It's bloody good. When it does come out over here in whatever format it comes out in, if you can't get a hold of the Blu-ray or the 4K, I recommend it. And this looks absolutely tremendous on 4K. It really, really does. I'm going to show the next two together. I actually did a video sort of partly related to this the other day where I talked about a certain franchise that I keep buying the titles over and over and over again for. And I told myself I wasn't going to do it, I'm not going to do it, and then I did it. So HMV had a really great deal online for some 4Ks, and in there was the Star Wars trilogy. Now, I already had Star Wars A New Hope, as I bought that for the new restoration, as it's my favourite. But I decided that Jedi and Empire, that I was more than happy with the Blu-ray. And then I saw this fantastic deal, and I'm like, I need to have the rest of the trilogy. So I bought The Empire Strikes Back on 4K, which I briefly showed you in my collecting Star Wars video, and then I got also Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I have got Rise of Skywalker on 4K, and I've also got Force Awakens on 4K, purely for the J.J. Abrams commentary, which wasn't included on the initial release at present. And don't hold me to it, because you know, this decision could change like the weather. I have no plans to get the prequels or Episode 8 on 4K, but we'll see, eh? So the last title for this update, I saw loads of you guys getting the Steelbook edition and the deluxe editions of this that was brought out by Studio Canal, and I just couldn't bring myself to spend the money, I'm afraid, on it. I love the film, and it's probably my favourite sci-fi film of all time. It's certainly up there, but I decided that I would wait for the standard sort of Amaray release of it, if you like. And the picture quality on this is absolutely fantastic. It is the best that it has ever looked. And that is Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall. I absolutely love this film, and I think that this edition is just absolutely fantastic. So there we are, folks. That is my DVD, Blu-ray and 4K update. Everything that I picked up or ordered or, you know, had delivered to me in January of 2021. I do hope you've liked the video. Leave me any thoughts you've got or any comments that you want to leave down below. Let's have a natter about them. Are any of these films that you think I should get to watching sooner rather than later? And yeah, absolutely. Let's just have a natter about it. If you liked the video, drop us a thumbs up. And if this is the sort of video that you like to see, then please think about subscribing to the channel, because these are the sort of videos that I like to make on a regular basis. I do videos, obviously DVD, Blu-ray collection updates, that sort of thing, talking about my physical media collection here, doing film reviews of certain films as well, and just really making videos about my enjoyment of film and physical media. If that sounds like it's something for you, then think about hitting that subscribe button. And above all else, folks, please continue to take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.